and get started. Welcome to the November 12th, 2024 MUD meeting. I want to welcome Amanda, our newest director. We're gonna have to go through some housekeeping items real quick. It shouldn't take too long, but at first, if you all would join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you would join me in 30 seconds of silence. Okay, thank you. First, I'm going to ask our attorney, Sean, should we go ahead and do the director items before we do citizens communication?
Sure.
Okay, so if anyone has citizen communication, please fill out the form and turn it in to Sean or Lisa. Director items, number 2, statement of elected and appointed officer, oath of office, and official bond for directors elected to the November 5th, 2024. So, Sean?
Yep, we are board members, as you all likely recall. These are all forms that you execute as a new officer in the board. The statement of elected officer and oath of officer state requirements, and the official bond is just the what is required by state law and the actual functional form to fill it out to get that going with the bonding company. So have that in receipt, and just looking for a motion to accept those forms.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then does she go ahead and do the oath out loud?
No, it's fine. She's
What?
executed it.
They made us do it.
I talked with Amanda earlier, and I told her I don't think people do it.
That's not fair. Remember, Cecilia, you made me do that. Okay. Number 3, Open Meetings Act training, public access option form for new directors.
Yeah, and so, Amanda, I think we've given you the Open Meetings Act training. I think you're required to do within 30 days. It's an online course that the AG's office puts together, so if you haven't done that already, go ahead and do that. Just let us know, send us a screenshot or what have you, or whatever confirmation that you get via email. So that's all I have there, and that gets us down to election of officers. I'll pass it.
Okay, election of officers. Do I have a motion for a suggestion for election of officers?
I'm fine with it.
I guess you need a motion to approve it, so I'll make a motion
And your motion is?
to approve the list that's put in the board packet with you as president, myself as vice president, Director Young as secretary, Director Johnson as treasurer, and since the position of assistant secretary is vacant, Director Stansfield as assistant secretary.
Okay, Director Johnson, you second?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion?
Sure, I've got plenty. First of all, I previously asked Director Johnson if I nominated him as president, he'd accepted. He's unable to, although I think he would be the best option. I don't think his availability is such that we could do that. I would like us to consider in 6 months, or when the term is over, for us to look into electing positions at that time, and maybe we can consider putting the most level-headed person at the table as the president. On the main part of my point is, I think that Director Logan as president would be the absolute worst option that we have available. We have 3 very capable people, and then I could have my hand held and do better. Start with the list of reasons why she should not be. Back on April 24th, I had emailed our district's attorney, Sean, about beekeeping in the community garden. I CC'd Director Logan and the GM. I asked, in addition to the legal feasibility of a chicken coop in the Humano garden community, would you also look at the feasibility of beekeeping? I was going through the process, and I had mentioned it at a previous board meeting that I'm looking into getting beekeeping done. On May 27th, we had a resident that emailed the GM, and this was apparently, I believe most of us have seen this, perhaps Director Stanfield has not. We got an email for a anonymous complaint And it was apparently prompted by Director Logan. It stated, "I was chatting with Ursula last night and she suggested I forward this email to you. Robert bought a beehive, he's trying to get into the community garden. We appreciate his eagerness and we'd love to have the bees, but only after the mud process and the gardeners discussing it first." So even though Director Logan was on the CC and she knew I was going through the process, she prompted an anonymous complaint about another director. That's not the kind of level-headed president that we should have to keep tempers down here. Next item is, we've gotten heated over the past couple of years, a few times, and the common denominator has been Director Logan, right? We want somebody here that is going to use the gavel, not to silence the people that are dissenting from her, but to keep things calm. We got some anonymous complaints, and I was following up on that in the August meeting. Here's the point I'm making on this. Director Logan was unilaterally setting policy about district business with our contractors. So I was following up on the anonymous complaints that were made against me. And at one point, Director Logan informed the board that we had all met on the topic. And we decided that any new complaints are to be investigated by the district's attorney, right? The board did not do that. As far as I know, I don't know how this policy came into effect other than Director Logan sitting down with a contractor and setting this new policy. So that's what she had shared with me in the August meeting, that everybody had sat down, but they didn't. But she had set policy, right? And the fact that we didn't sit down and do this all together, it was only in September that I got another anonymous complaint. I'm sorry, this was not an anonymous complaint. This was one that was directed at me from our GM, and it was the parks guy. So the fact that she's setting policy and we're not agreeing on it and then starting to enforce it, it allowed this stuff to happen. Thankfully, Crossroads has apologized for the misinformation that was provided then, but Director Logan is the problem there, thinking that she can set policy and not share it with the rest of the board. That's a bad thing for a president. Back when I was not on the board, let's talk about abuse of power real quick. Back when I was not on the board, I was approached by a police officer in the park while I was playing Frisbee. That sheriff's deputy was trying to get me to stop, even though it was within the rules. Certainly at the time, it was okay to play disc golf and Frisbee and talk to whatever you want to do. I had decided at that time, when that deputy shooed me out of the park, he had called one of the directors, and that director had the deputy remove me. The deputies are not for enforcing park rules, they're for enforcing the law. But that abuse of power is what I saw as problematic. That's something that I wanted to stop. And once we did take the board, once we sat on the board, we all had agreed that we're no longer to give contractors direct instruction. Everything's to go through the GM, right? But I've already seen where Director Logan is giving instruction to the deputies, going outside of what we've all agreed on, and having them check up on a car that seems abandoned or whatever. But we have a non-emergency phone number to call, but going outside of that process is an abuse of power that's only just begun. For the 2 years that, let's talk about silencing dissenting voices or people that she just doesn't care about. For 2 years, we have done really good at communicating. We're talking about things in the packets. when something's in the packet, we wanna discuss it, we all agree to discuss it. We've had residents able to comment in the middle of the meeting, even though it's normally, you know, formal rules, they only get to talk for 3 minutes in the beginning. We've done a really good job. Now, at the last minute of last meeting, Director Logan uses her gavel and says, we are now interpreting, you know, we're going with a strict enforcement of the rules, we're only doing motions and stuff like that. If we start going to where she can single out one person to keep them casual, I'm fine with getting brushed back if I'm going outside the topic or whatever, and I think everybody else here is. But if we start going by a strict enforcement of rules, it's gonna get really difficult in this boardroom. I don't want us to take that direction. The last thing, and I think the most important one, is I've been getting harassed by Director Logan since June 23rd. I'm gonna read you the text that she sent me that day, which I interpret as blackmail. I'm ready for Wednesday. Bring it and bring Heather. Heather's my ex-wife and my fiance. She said, I'm not going to be meek. Be prepared, you know me. Remember how much I know, and I have never been as ugly or as vicious as you. I have had hours of conversations with your former girlfriend, Jeffy. I know more than you want. You sold your soul if you ever had one. My wife has since had to block Director Logan from stalking her on LinkedIn. And I continue since that point to get threatening texts and voicemails. If anybody wants to hear it, I'll be happy to share how ugly she can be. I think that it is a huge mistake if we allow her the gavel for the next 6 months or the next 2 years.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next item, which is number 5, revise account resolutions and signature cards for existing bank accounts, including secretary certificate resolutions regarding manager's account. So these will be passed around to be signed, correct?
That's correct, so these are just the standard banking accounts when we get standard banking resolutions when we get a new board member, and what they are, they just evidence that board member's signature just in case the bank has any question about who might sign a check or anything else. Doesn't happen too often, but we go through the drill every time we get a new director.
Okay, so we have the first one I just mentioned, then B, which is secretary certificate and resolutions regarding operating account, secretary's certificate and resolution regarding capital projects and funding account, and secretary's certificate and resolution regarding lockbox clearing account. Do I have a motion to approve all 4?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then number 6 is the district registration form.
Board members, behind tab 5 is the district registration form. This is the form that is, tab 6, that is filed with the TCEQ. It provides basic information about the district, including directors and terms and that sort of thing. And this will just update the form to incorporate the new term for Director Logan, and the new term for Director Stanfield, and update the form to include Director Stanfield's contact information.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the district registration form?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passed. Let's go into consent items real quick, and then we will move on. Yeah. Oh, yeah, let's go into I don't think we have any citizens communication, do we? Do we? Okay. All right, great. Consent items. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from October
Motion.
23rd? Second? All in
Second.
favor? Aye. All in favor? Okay, any opposed? Okay, great. So before we go to number 8, I'm gonna move up number 20A, which is, oh, and first, let me stop and pause. Amanda, welcome to the board. Cecilia, thank you for your time, but Amanda, we're thrilled to have you on the board, so welcome. And as I mentioned to you before the meeting started, all new directors, you may not be completely up to speed, please feel free to abstain. We have full quorum here, so that's okay to do. Okay? And welcome, we're thrilled to have you here. Okay, so 20A is Jim from Nebraska Furniture Marshals, representing.
You tried to, that's what. Yes, I will. Thanks again, everyone, for having me. Welcome, Director Canfield.
Thank you.
I'm Jim Shkeen, by the way, I'm representing Nebraska Furniture Market.
Nice to meet you.
Across the way there. So what we do here is I come once a month and we talk about updates, milestones, any major activities that are gonna happen on site. It's been pretty calm, we've spent about almost a year moving dirt, and now we've gotten to all the, starting using all the vertical construction, so I brought a member of, as I discussed last month, I brought a member of, the Shields Sporting Goods Store, and Samson Construction. This is Cal Sandy, you want to say a couple words?
Yeah,
Do you mind stepping up to the podium just because we have the owl system, so they can pick you up? We do have a lot of residents that watch us online during, live, or afterwards, so that's why we ask.
well, now I'll be on the video feed. My name's Kyle, I'm based out of Lincoln, Nebraska, so I'm project manager for Shields All Sports that's going in the NFM development. Super excited to be here, it's gonna be a great project, I think, for the community, and they're our #1 client, customer, so we just go wherever they build in the market. So got to meet with Jim, Jim's been a huge asset to us, being an out-of-state contractor, and he's just my resource to make everything happen here, so.
Good, so if we have any issues, we can just reach out to Jim and he can connect with you.
100%. And just in the continued spirit and championing effort to be a great neighbor, as I discussed before, I wanted to bring them over. I'll bring someone over from the NFM store, from Cadence Food Chain, probably in the next month or two. But just wanted everybody to have a face to put some name and go from there. So I appreciate it.
Your reaction will be much more than
Oh man, I'm so. Thank you for bringing
He's
that
already-
up.
he's already-
Appreciate it. It's already
Thank you,
sore
thank
subject in my life.
They're already coming, she didn't want to go back home to Nebraska. So we don't have a major update, this month. Like I said, I'll always be here. I mean, the biggest thing to talk about is, I know Director Logan, you mentioned, the screen fence that we have along Creek Run. Back in July or August, when I met with the board, we were pushing like all heck to make sure we had all 3 of the storm sewer taps tied in. We should make it, so that should be done before the Thanksgiving holiday and the holiday season, so that should be taken care of. David's working with us on getting that final tap taken in, so it's been taking a little longer than we anticipated, but should be done in the next 2 weeks. Other than that, we keep talking about the screen wall along the back, so the retaining wall, the 3,000-foot long retaining wall is completed. We've got a 10-foot CMU wall that's gonna go on top of it, it's gonna provide privacy for the buffer area behind the residents behind us. That is locked, has already been delivered this week, it's supposed to start next week, so by the end of February, that should be up to completely, the back of our property, the north side of our property and the south side of the residents should be, have that 30-foot buffer taken care of. In addition to that, we're gonna go a step further. We're gonna go ahead and in the buffer area, we're required by the alternative photo compliance plan to plant a substantial amount of trees back there to give back the calabranches that we took down to clear the site. So those are gonna go in place, temporary irrigation will be installed, and that'll all happen in April next year. So probably almost 18 months ahead of time, we're gonna have that done and look to turn that back over so we can kind of eliminate the construction that we have back there. So those are really our major updates this week. This month, there isn't much, it's only been 3 weeks since our last meeting. I know next month we moved up to the 12th of December. I talked with Director Logan. If she needs me to come back, I'm more than willing to come back in December, but it's the same, it's gonna be the same consistency as what you're seeing right now. Samson's got 18 concrete pours, they give me a 5-week look-ahead schedule. They had 18 pours that started about 2 weeks ago. They're through 4 of those, they've done 2 foundation pours, maybe 3 foundation pours, 1 foundation wall pour. They've got 15 more to the end of the year. I think they've been going off without any problems or complaints. They start, 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're making sure that we keep sirens turned off and backup alarms off, and lights pointed to the south as opposed to being pointed north to the residents. And they're down in the whole field, anyway. So they've been great. They've kept me informed. I've kept Director Logan informed almost on an hourly basis on sometimes. These guys have been fantastic. We tried to do a 5 a.m. one once, and I didn't give Director Logan enough time, so we canceled it. We moved it to later in the morning, so we're doing everything we can to make sure we're that's what we have.
Great, thank you. And when he's keeping Director Logan informed, he's keeping the GM informed, so that you are aware, so they're in great contact. thank you very much, and definitely, between now and December meeting, we'll talk, and if there's any need for you to be here, I'll let you know, but yeah,
I appreciate it.
thank
All right.
you.
Thanks so much,
Appreciate
everyone.
it.
Yeah, take
Have
care.
a good evening, and it was nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you for coming down.
Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and move to 22A, which is Texas Disposal Systems. So we have Jamar here. So we have an amendment to amend the restated contract. We're not gonna vote on it tonight, but I'm gonna go ahead and let him speak to it, and then I'll let the directors, yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, directors, in my GM packet, if you'll look on the second page, you'll find some information that Jamar forwarded over to us. This is giving you a breakdown of all the scenarios. Again, this is just for discussion information, so if you guys will have more questions, you can shoot them over to me and we'll get them to Jamar for the next one.
Yes, good evening and congratulations. It's nice to see some of you. I haven't seen some of you in quite a while. I have met on a number of occasions with the subcommittee to discuss a menu of options to offer some relief and mitigate some financial stress. So that's what we have before us, but before we get to that, I would like to share something that we're very, very proud of at TDS, and it happens very rarely. We aim for it every month. It's very difficult to attain, especially in a community of this size. We were able to accomplish it in July and in October, where we had 0 misses
Nice.
in the whole community, and that comes out to 13,032 opportunities for a miss, and in October, we didn't have a single miss. Don't hold us to that, that's gonna be our aim, it's very rare. And as I was putting this together, I thought maybe I should say, reported misses, because, you know, that's probably the truth of the matter, but, if the whistle's not blown, it's not a foul, so. But, if we were to just, kind of go through this, currently, the services that are provided to the district are trash plus 4 bags, every other week recycling, card only, 3 call-in bulkies. In the not too far future, we're gonna probably change the name of that. It's on demand, but tomato, and 2 community drop-offs. So the menu that you have before you demonstrates the value of each by showing decreasing value of the monthly amount that each resident would pay. And currently, I'm assuming I'm okay sharing this publicly, currently residents are paying $31.71 per month. First line, we show all of the services that I mentioned, and in the second row, if you will, of savings, we drop the 4 bags that accompany the cart and 1 curbside bulky, bringing it down to 2 curbside bulkies. And that would take the rate from $31.71 to $31.32. If I go too fast, please let me know. Then, we're gonna remain card only for trash in this menu item, and we are gonna decrease by 1 bulky item, 1 call-in bulky. So now, opposed to 2 call-in bulkies, we're at 1 call-in bulky. And that takes the rate down to $31.09. Next, everything will remain the same, minus all call-in bulkies. So now we have card only for trash, recycling every other week, there's been no transition there, 0 call-in bulkies, and we still have the 2 community drop-offs, and that would take the rate down to $30.86. Currently, we're sitting at a total savings of 85 cents per home per month. Next, we would drop one community drop off. And that would take the rate down to $30.47. So just so everyone's clear, those services would be card only for trash. Recycling would remain every other week. It would be 0 call-in bulkies. And there would be 1 community drop-off. And that would take us to $30.47. Next, without belaboring the point, we would drop that 1 community drop-off. And that would take the rate down to $30.09. I've had a variety of conversations with our operations department and finance department, and they asked me, and you don't have to answer now, where would we like to be explicitly? So, and as I say, we don't have to answer that now. Take your time to look over this. I have no issue whatsoever. In fact, I'll be pleased to discuss this during the interim between now and the next board meeting.
So thank you very much for all that information. So if we go down to 30.09, what is the overall savings per household? Do you have that number?
I do not.
Okay, that's all right, you can get it to us.
Yeah.
It's- No, and then my next question is, because I know this was discussed in the subcommittee meetings, if we got rid of the curbside and we got rid of the bulk drop-off, we had an option to do curbside bulk, basically. And what that equates to is everyone in the neighborhood on the same day could put, like, basically what you would take to Humano as large item drop-off, you could actually have at your curbside. So we do need the cost of that, like if we,
We have it.
okay,
We have it.
can you share that?
That is, per home, that's 33 cents per home, per month. But,
If we did it every month.
no, period.
Oh, okay,
Just for one time, for
Oh,
that, for that event
okay,
to happen, one time, it'd be
Okay.
33 cents per home.
Per month.
Yes, per month, per resident.
okay.
And in total, I think I shared that.
I have it, in total, it's gonna be, $8,601.10 total.
Right.
If you did it twice a year, it would come out to $17,202.20, which would increase it to 66 cents. Taking what Jamar has provided to you all with 1 cart, the recycling, 0 bulky, and 2 community curbside drop, you're looking at roughly $30.75 with a saving of 96 cents a month.
Okay, alright, so that's kind of what I want the directors to go home and research a little bit, is that option. One of the reasons we brought curbside to the curb for all residents 3 times a year is because a lot of people didn't have trucks and they couldn't get their stuff there. So this kind of seems like it solves that issue. I know one of the concerns of many of us is, well, then you got a lot of trash sitting out there, and I heard if you do it, say twice a year, it's the same day, right? Like everybody in the neighborhood,
That's right.
it may take you a day or 2 to pick it up, so that's just, something that you have to consider, but I think it's time for us to kind of look at different options and see what's the best fit for purpose for our community, so thank you so much. I'm gonna go around the table and see if anybody has any questions, and then we will talk, and then we're gonna make new subcommittees tonight, so I'm sure you'll have a new subcommittee that we'll talk to as the GM, okay? Director Young, do you have any questions?
No questions. No, thank you very much.
I'm also gonna leave, most of you already have my card, but I'll leave this for those of you who do not.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Director Stanfield, do you have any questions?
I got one.
Thank you.
Director Shoemaker?
I did one question about when y'all do the, proposed 2 community drop-offs, like, would y'all, is that a thing where like it would need to be like the day we normally get trash, or would y'all like still do it on the weekend, right? So if we had a community drop-off, would everybody put the stuff out to get it done on Saturday, or would it be like, come on, yeah, they come on Wednesday, I'm just curious how the logistics of that work.
We would make that, convenient for the community. Typically, what we like to do is schedule about 6 weeks in advance. Because things change annually, you guys may have an event next year that you didn't have the year previously, so nothing's locked in stone. So we just need a 6-week, advance notice.
Okay, thank you.
So it's not set on a Saturday, we can do it on a Wednesday?
You definitely could.
Okay, whatever. Okay, good, great. Thank you so much for coming, and we will be in touch.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Thank you, that was a good question, Director Shoemaker. Bond items, park bonding, number 8, consideration of plans for Tomlinson Park Placegate. Trent is here. Hello. So Trent, thank you very much. I wanna remind the board, Director Young and I sat on this ad hoc subcommittee, we met with you one time. And then, Director Roberts was leaving and, Director Young and I talked about having her sit in because I know her input on the park was important. And Director Young said, no, he didn't want to step down, so I said, yes, I'll go ahead and let you, Director Young did not show up at that meeting, so it was just you and Trent and David, I believe you were there, right, and Lisa. So you guys had a good meeting, and then the next one, we did remote or something, so, but we finally did have one, I was able to attend. The plans look awesome, thank you, at least we had 2 directors meeting with you. I think what you have right now looks fantastic, so the tables, or the podium's yours.
Well, good evening, directors. Just like last month, we, as Director Logan had mentioned, we have been meeting with the subcommittee regularly to work through to make sure that you guys are getting exactly what you asked for. And so we walked through the plans, walked through all the different elements of play that are there, and in your packet is what we are calling a 100% set. Design set for you guys to approve the construction documents. We are not ready to go out to bid yet, we were waiting for you guys to, that'll be another later time when you guys are ready, you guys can authorize David to advertise for bid. But at this time, we wanted to have the plans ready and complete, and we can put them on the shelf to be able to bid when you guys are ready. Along with that, we will have to submit the plans. I haven't stamped and sealed them yet because I have to submit them to TDOR. As soon as we do that, I have to do that within 7 days of stamping the drawings. So I'm holding off until that happens so that we can submit to TDOR at that time and go through that process. But if there are any questions related to the drawings that you have in front of you.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the Tomlinson Placegate as is in the packet?
I'll motion for discussion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion, Director Johnson.
I guess my only question is, were all of Cecilia's comments factored into what we see? Okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent, okay, that was my only question.
Great question. Okay, Director Stanfield.
No questions.
Okay, Shoemaker.
This isn't really a question, more of a request, but I guess next time we put this in, I think it'd be good to put a kind of a side or not that it's overhead view in for the packet for residents to look through it.
Yeah, we have some great 3D renderings,
'Cause
right?
I've seen some of the renderings, but
Yeah,
that's not really a question for the best.
I think we were hesitant until we voted, correct?
Well, and we're still hesitant because the renderings that we prepared are a little older, and there have been adjustments and changes and modifications to the construction drawing, and that were not made back into the original design. So that's why I don't want those going out to the public, because that's not what you guys are getting. But if you kind of take it as a kind of a large lens, it gives you an idea of the scale and the feel and kind of the look. But it is not, if you look at it, it's not what you're going to get. And I really don't want those out into the public because it could get, you guys could get.
No, totally understand, yeah, if they're not, I did not know they were not up to this, so that's fine, I just, when we get to that point, we probably should try to get the word out to folks. I think.
Yeah, so when do we think we could get an accurate rendering that we could share?
So that, I mean, that's, we were doing that as part of the design process, but it wasn't part of our contract.
Okay,
And
No,
so,
okay.
I mean, that's, you know, and so we do that because we had to be able to design it and get, and provide instruction to the playground manufacturer who was doing the wooden floor piece. We had to describe it to them, so we built that part of it to be able to hand it off. But as the plans evolved and developed, we did not update everything to make the 3D plans match exactly what the construction documents said.
yeah, I just want to think so for example, the swing set, I don't think it shows like the Mommy Me swings or the new, merry-go-round, thank you, which is all abilities and such, so.
There's a lot.
I think, I think we can talk about it and decide what we wanna put out there. I do want residents to get excited and, we do have the timeline out there, which is really important, and I hope residents are looking at that as far as like, once TCQ does their thing and all that. Okay, Director Young, do you have any questions?
No.
Director Johnson?
One last question, follow up on Director Shoemaker. Is that something that we could expect from whichever firm wins the build? Do you think?
They will provide shop drawings,
Okay.
during construction.
They won't be running.
Most likely will not be renderings, but they will prepare shop drawings for review and approval from us.
If you're looking for rendering.
I'm just curious if that was something that was typically generated in that part of the process.
If you want a pre-picture, i.e. a rendering,
Mhm.
all you gotta do is tell him to do it and pay us a bill when he comes, sends you a bill for it, and he'll produce it.
Well, I think when
I mean,
it,
just as simple as that.
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we have a very tight budget, but, one of the things we talked about is having an open house and letting residents see, kinda like what we did with the pool expansion.
And I would suggest that you have the correct rendering.
Oh, absolutely.
at
That's
that
what we're
correct-
asking, yeah.
Because I've seen other situations where the public was, not intentionally, but something was put out and then something different got built and it caused a
Yeah,
ramification.
conservation. Yeah, okay, so the board discuss it, the subcommittee will discuss it, and maybe we can get a quote from you to see, to do the,
Quote won't hurt.
We would be happy to do a rendering for you.
okay, yeah, let's just get a quote.
Yeah, don't want to put undue burden on y'all, we're not trying to make it a whole other layer.
Yeah.
but-
No, that's a service we do provide, it just
Okay.
wasn't included in your original contract.
Okay.
That's not-
Thank
it's
you.
not-
Okay, any more discussion from directors? Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
We already.
I think
Did we?
David's motion, I second, so I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We will be in touch soon. And thank you for the meetings, and thank you for working around us. Schedule of bond issuance, do we need to go over that?
I can briefly
Yes.
update you, I don't see Lauren here tonight,
She's online.
she's online. Okay, hi Lauren, do you wanna talk about this?
Hello. It's either or. I'm happy to go over it.
Go for it.
All right. So what we did for you all was at the subcommittee's request, we did an overview. I know that's in your packets. Essentially, for November, December, we're waiting for your TCQ order to come out of the commission. You all were taking action on looking at the renderings for the project, and once the order comes out and the board is comfortable to move forward with acquiring bids. One thing we wanted to let you know is once the TCQ staff memorandum and draft order comes out, your consultants will review that and get back with your attorney to return that to the TCQ. At that point, a mandatory 30-day appeal period begins. Next month, we'll bring to you a request to have an estimated AV and for your financial advisor to see municipal rating and municipal bond insurance on the bonds. I'll also begin the process of distributing your initial offering documents to the consultants to start reviewing and making revisions. Come January, February, the meat of the bond process begins. You all will be making sure that the engineer can advertise and receive bids. At that point, David's group would publicly advertise and bring forth the most competitive bid. We would be receiving the estimated AUV from the Williamson Central Appraisal District, receiving the information from the ratings and insurance companies, and seeking final comments on the documents before advertising the sale of the bonds. March, April, we would receive bids on the bonds. We would bring that information to you all. Roughly 30 days after the sale of the bonds, you close the bonds. At that point, as long as the funds have not had to be put in an escrow account per the TCQ, those funds would be immediately available. Construction could begin on the projects anywhere between a 30 and 90-day completion project, and your engineer at that point would be providing updates on progress. Come May, June, we would have hopefully all the construction completed, all the work had been inspected and approved by your engineer. All costs related to the construction of those projects will have been submitted and paid with bond proceeds. And the project would finally be open for district residents to enjoy. We are still awaiting the staff memorandum and draft order out of the TCEQ. Honestly, I think we're expecting that anytime within the next couple of weeks. We had a few questions come back from the reviewer. David quickly got that sent out to all of us. We circled the wagons, got all those questions answered and resubmitted within, I think, 48 hours to the questions being received. So I don't think David has heard anything else from the reviewer in relation to that. So at this point, we're just waiting for that memo.
Great.
Any questions for me?
So directors, this is all on page 53 in your packet. It's also posted on the website for residents to see. I'll go around the table. Director Shoemaker, do you have any questions?
One quick question. When would this need to come back from is there a chance this can get on the TCEQ November agenda, or is this pretty much gonna be December? I think maybe more of a David question than a Warren one, whoever, it's just curious, like.
It's administrative, it doesn't go through like the commission.
Oh, that's what I was thinking, thank you.
Good question.
But as she mentioned, and David, they have come back with us with some follow-up questions, and David has responded, so we at least know they're looking at it. It's making progress.
Right.
Oh, that's small, but.
They'll issue a staff memorandum and a draft order that'll come to the district. All your consultants will look at it. Ultimately, your legal counsel, assuming we concur with the recommendations and findings contained in that memorandum and order, your attorney will sign off on behalf of the district, send it back, and then they'll turn around and issue a final order in a couple of weeks. And so, I think you'll have your final order in December. I think you'll have staff memorandum, which Lauren alluded to this month. We've got Thanksgiving kind of, the holidays are a little funky, but that would be consistent with the program, the timeframe that we expected when we filed it.
Okay, thank you.
I know it feels like a long time, and it is.
Well, they got time.
Well, it's where I hadn't thought, I thought it was like, TC thing, like, getting on, like, wait, I gotta actually go to the commission, it was a consent item, and I know.
That's a good question.
That was where I was like,
Come on, Shemar, you work for the government.
Yeah. That's why I asked it. Director
That's
Stanfield,
what I asked.
any questions? Director Johnson?
No question.
Director Young?
Questions?
Okay, and I asked mine, so thank you very much. Thank you, Lauren, for joining.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Lauren.
So we're gonna go ahead and move on.
Thank y'all.
Ms. Martin, VHC Owners Association. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Trent, thank you.
Stay true. Good touch.
We are officially done for the year. No more parties, no more anything. We did have one board member resign last month, and we have posted that. I mean, that's not really posted, but we put out a call for candidates, and that closes November 22nd, and then we're gonna interview on December 7th. So if anybody is interested, they need to send an email to our blockhousecreekoa.gmail.com, and we're sending out a little questionnaire and all of that, so if y'all know anybody that's interested. At our annual meeting on Saturday, Lisa Pepperell was elected to her term, or to a term of 3 years. And we're really done.
So if you're a little excited about that. Yeah.
We will talk to you after the new year.
Alright, thank you, Sandy.
Thanks, Sandy.
As I said, if you have some stuff, I'll drop off for you from the pumpkin patch. Okay, report from Williamson County Sheriff's Department, we have, Deputy Bartlett here.
Hello. We're happy to be here.
we don't really have anything to report. Keep giving us calls if you guys have issues with vehicles parked on the street that feel abandoned. We do look into stuff like that, so, that's part of our job. So if you guys have any concerns, questions, please feel free to reach out to any one of us. A lot of us are in unmarked units, some of us are in marked units, we all have lights and sirens. Please feel free to stop and talk to us, we enjoy it. That's all I really got.
Yeah, thank you. So, Director Young brought up something that I had reached out to you all about reporting a vehicle. I've actually reached out to you through our GM multiple times, and one was on my street, one was actually down near his street, one was down on Dillon Lake, and you guys have done a fantastic job, so thank you. And thank you, Lisa, for working with them. That is,
Yeah, absolutely. If it looks abandoned, if its registrations expire, that's something we can address. Normally, we tend to try to find the owners. We don't wanna tow anybody's vehicle unless we have to. If it's broken down and been there for quite some time, we will. But there's gotta be circumstances, so, by all means, give us a call, it's our job, we don't mind it. We'll reach out, try to find the owners, try to get stuff addressed and moved.
yeah, you really did reach out to an owner, and you went above and beyond, and the owner appreciated it. He lived in the neighborhood on one instance, so, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And we do appreciate you all being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and so, Director Stanfield, I'm sure you saw in your first packet, they do their dailies, so you can read those and see. We don't advertise the hours they're working. We just kind of want residents to kind of not know, like, and they do scatter them. Some deputies work from 3 AM to 6, or, they have different times, so if you have any questions.
I can remember back in the day, the states when you used to run where Austin Police was doing traffic enforcement, so you knew you didn't want to speed there.
Yeah.
You just speed elsewhere because
I
they were
remember
there.
that,
Yeah.
So we don't want to do that, where everybody knows they can speed because
yeah.
there's.
That's great. I love it.
Okay, amenities, Premier Recreation is not here this evening, it's his daughter's birthday, which is a good reason not to be here. I don't think we have any updates on the pools.
The reports in the packet.
Yeah, okay, and then priority, Trip and Clint, thank you, I was almost saying Trent.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So we are in the middle, or started the winter schedule in November, so we're on every other week. We were here last week, we weren't here this week, which is why there's so many leaves in the parking lot here as you walked up. So just keep that in mind, leaves will not be picked up as often as they have been. We installed fall color yesterday at the entrances in all three, in this park and Concourse. So that new color is in, getting watered accordingly, so should look really nice for the holidays. Other than that, I don't have anything, unless there's any questions.
Okay, so we do have a proposal, for, installation of bolts, splitting of tree trunk, and trimming of tree limbs for the trees at Luther Chance. So they're basically, if you walked out there recently, we have that overlooked deck. There's 2 big trees, and I just happened to walk it with my daughter 2 days ago. There's 2 big trees there, and it needs some work, so do you wanna discuss it, or do you want?
Sure, I mean, Clint and I have gone out there to look at it, he actually took some pictures, you'll see those in your packet as well. Obviously, we have 2 options here for you all, they did bring to us an option, they did reach out to the arborist and provide us installation of bolts, that could be added to the splitting of the trees, to the trunks themselves. This is not a permanent or to say that it's actually gonna work. I mean, there's a possibility that the bolts would actually, not actually hold the tree trunks up, and eventually we would still have to go in and take it out. Your second proposal is gonna be 4716, that's gonna obviously remove, it states here trees, but they're actually just gonna be the limb themselves, and not the entire tree.
There's one limb on the large tree,
Right.
and then there's a secondary tree that's about 5 feet away that's probably 8 inch in diameter.
Right, not heritage, just small,
That is
yes.
split, and
Yeah.
then additionally, there's 2 trees over, there's about 4 limbs in that tree that are dead that are hanging over the creek as well.
Okay.
So we might as well get those while we're there.
So you have an option of $2,833, or the removal of the limbs themselves for $2,250. This cost actually would come out of the monies that we have baked in, is that correct? Right, into the contract itself, so it's not hindering the budget in any way, it's just a decision more of how you guys would want it to go.
Okay, so it's either between proposal 4716, is that correct, or proposal 4715, so do I have a motion and a proposal?
I'll make a motion on the proposal 4716.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ooh. Any discussion, Director Young?
No discussion.
Director Johnson?
I hate removing them, but I would also hate paying to try to fix them and failing and paying to remove them anyway. Is that kind of your thought?
Yeah, that's exactly my thought, cause the other reason I worry about it too is I'd hate, if we put the bolts right, if someone gets injured because it fails, right?
Right.
And particularly that one, I think I wanna look at the one pictures, the small one kind of under the deck coming out the side. That one just does not look good.
It's not the removal of the tree, so I guess that's good.
Right, you're not completely removing the tree, you're just removing the split trunk part, the split like a back, and then the two dead limbs, so you're not taking the complete trees down.
Right.
Okay, which is a concern I've heard from residents, okay.
Yeah, I don't love doing this, but I also don't want someone to have a tree falling.
Okay, Director Stanfield?
No further.
Director Shoemaker? Okay, I think it's everything, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, good, because Cecilia was gonna chain herself to the tree,
I was.
so.
I would be the first resident. And I was not joking.
Okay, we do not have a report from the amenities subcommittee. Let's go on to PR communications, anything on special events? Thank you, Clint.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And Trent, thank you for bringing the key out,
Oh, you're welcome.
and I think Amy has it.
We got it.
Okay.
No, I didn't know.
Alright, special events.
We don't have any special events. Oh, I'm sorry, we actually are working on Cocoa Christmas. So that'll be taking place on the first Saturday in December, so we are pulling that
Okay.
together.
So let me ask, I know, you sent out at least one or two emails, I don't think she's heard a response back from, I'm just gonna flat out ask you, Shoemaker, are you available on
I
the?
think so, because as I said, it's the second weekend, I don't
It's
have
the
to
first
respond.
weekend.
It's the first weekend.
Mhm.
Okay, Director Young, are you
December
available?
7th, right?
Okay, I'm gonna ask every single one of our directors on this board to please respond to Lisa's emails. She has asked many of you, all of us, can we attend meetings? Can we fill in on certain events?
Yeah.
And we're not getting,
Replies.
replies back. So if you can't reply, then we need to discuss why you can't do that, but if you're a director on this board, you need to be able to reply to our GM. So, okay, I'll let you guys work that out, I know Johnson's a maybe, so, okay, I know you can't. Okay, thank you, newsletter.
Newsletter for December is actually finished. We are getting that into the Crossroads November 18th invoicing, so you all will have that soon.
Okay, fantastic, and then you'll probably have a new subcommittee on that, so you can look and bring them up to
Yeah.
speed. Restrictive covenants,
No items to discuss, like specific residences at this time.
okay,
We definitely will have some next month.
a Christmas present, huh?
Yeah, actually, and then a few things to discuss in executive session next time as well,
In December, not
in
tonight.
December now.
Okay, fantastic.
The only thing I will add is, if you are watching and you have a letter from Cam or a letter from Armbruster and Brown, please reply and respond. That's all I'm gonna say, is if
Yeah,
you got something outstanding, don't ignore it, call them, write them back, let them know you've seen it.
so that's a really good point. I had a resident reach out to me today, as a matter of fact, and she's reached out to Cam 2 or 3 times and has not received a response. She asked if I could get involved, and I said, no, it's not my subcommittee. I said, please respond to them and CC the GM and the subcommittee, and so hopefully you heard from her.
We've got some stuff.
Okay,
Mhm.
alright,
Yep.
so that's all I'm doing is directing it.
No, I appreciate that, and I'm glad they reached out, you got some people that
Yeah, yeah.
they live on Earth.
Bless you. Okay, fantastic, let's keep moving along. Finance, do we have Tyler on the phone?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. I'll start the bookkeeping report. We have checks for approval, checks 9181 through 9221. That includes the checks that were in the supplemental packet that I sent out to Nancy. We had 2 transfers, both to the manager's account, just in order to cover check payments. For taxes, we are 99.49% collected through the month of September for 2024. We have the same 3 CDs as we've had the past couple of months. The next one's set to mature next month. And also attached to my report is the quarterly investment report for the 3rd quarter.
Thank you, do I have a motion? Oh, sorry, just let me do this real quick. do I have a motion to approve payment of bills, fund transfers, and investments?
Motion. Second.
Second, okay, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so if I don't hear opposed and I don't hear an aye, I'm gonna assume you're an aye. Okay, go ahead, Tyler.
Sure, thank you. The only other thing is just a note about director per diem request, which Director Stanfield, I'll get with you on this probably tomorrow, and so we can go through that process. But I know a lot of you put in requests for per diems for your subcommittee meetings. Just the only thing is I would request that we start leaving those to where we do every quarter. You put your whole list of meetings within that quarter. Just to limit forgetting or duplicating subcommittee meetings.
Director Johnson, do you wanna add to that?
No, I think quarterly or monthly sounds good. It helps to be, like you said, forgetting, right?
Yeah, so don't wait till the end of the year to turn them all in. Okay, thank you for that reminder. Anything else from the finance subcommittee? Did we talk about anything else?
We do not.
We are going to look at the budget, we talked about looking at it quarterly, so we're planning to do that in January. Okay, just so you guys know. We being whoever is on the finance subcommittee. Okay, services, pretty great.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna let Crystal present her report.
All right.
Excellent. So let's see, this month we've already talked about the recreational bond issue. I think we've covered that. Of course, Trent spoke about Tumlison and Playscape. And we also had the update from NFM, and we've been assisting with all those items.
Fantastic.
Any questions?
Any questions?
No, just keep us updated if you hear anything else from TCEQ.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, of course.
That would be good. Any other directors have any questions for them?
We don't have any other comments on the PEC easement. I know that's under Sean's report tonight, so I just wanna let you know that. And unless y'all have anything else for us, we'll probably excuse ourselves.
Yeah, please.
I mean,
Please go
I'm not
ahead.
trying to run around, love the company, but.
Yeah, and December, it's gonna be busy, so I mean, if you all wanna dial in or something, we're hoping that's gonna be a quick meeting, so
Appreciate that.
please take that into consideration unless something's blowing up, then we'll be like, please come, but
You
you
know,
should
I
be
always
alright.
like to see your smiling face.
Aw.
Thank y'all.
Alright, thank you both. Okay, system maintenance and repairs, anything? Crossroads. Thank you, I didn't.
Keep it short, because of the short month, we don't have our full report, so at the December meeting, I'll bring the November data. But honestly, it's been a good 2.5 weeks and nothing to report. I heard you called me from AT&T, just a heads up, and they wanted our opinion on if they wanted for us to use a different alternative route for the fiber installation. It's called micro trenching.
Oh.
And he's been kind of very communicative back and forth, which is nice, and I've been talking with David about the solutions, and we are in favor for anything that's less disturbing for the residents. And so far, all the information that we see on it, it looks good, and I think it would divert issues away. So hopefully, when I talk to Ernie next time, hopefully they will choose that route for the neighborhood, and then we'll get an update here shortly.
Can you bring us more information next time so we
Yeah.
fully understand it?
And I can send an email. He sent me like a little PDF.
I'll forward it on
Yeah,
to
we'll
PCC.
put it out and
Okay.
we'll get it to Lisa.
Yeah.
I'll send it on.
Yeah, you tell the
Yeah,
directors.
thank you.
Maybe if they've got a place they're doing it, it's not far away to drive by.
Okay, we can answer that for sure.
Yeah.
Good point, good point. I appreciate it.
Okay.
I have a quick update.
Sure.
Under 21C, we had some outstanding invoices for some damage done to district lines several months back, and we have finally, I think, gotten the attention of the right folks, and we'll likely have something to present to confirm final payment at your next meeting.
Fantastic, great news, thank you very much. Okay, thank
That's all right,
you.
thank you.
Have a great Thanksgiving. Okay, TDS, we already talked to them, storm water management. I thought I saw something else, was it under, MS4 drainage rule violation? I guess we can talk about that when we get to legal. So if anybody else have anything under number 23?
No.
Okay, 24. Do I have a motion to approve the proposal from Ronicus? Is it
Motion.
Ronicus? Yeah. Do you have a motion?
I motion.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion, Director Shoemaker?
This is for
Your website first.
website hosting, okay, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm fine with that, no problem, just.
Okay, Director Stanfield?
No questions.
Director Johnson?
No questions?
Director Young?
No questions?
Okay, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, Services Subcommittee, anything else?
No.
Okay, General Manager's report.
I passed out my report, I was not able to get it into the packet, I'll get it over to Nancy for any publishing. I don't really have any items to discuss, except that, our Polaris has turned into a little bit of a nightmare. They did find some additional items that needed to be repaired on the Polaris itself, so it's an additional $1,725. I did not have a discussion with the amenities subcommittee, but wanted to bring that to y'all's attention, considering it's under the cost that I'm allowed to accrue. All of these items, like I said, need to be taken care of in order for us to get the Polaris back, so.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for bringing it to our attention. We don't need a motion for this, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, nothing on block watch, we actually asked them to scratch that, make sure she does next time, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, legal, you're up. That'd be you, Sean.
Yeah, I'm just making so let's see, MS4 drainage rule violation, just to refresh everyone's memory, we talked at your last meeting about a violation. I was directed to write a letter, to the resident or residents, as the case would be, related to the violation. That is done, went out the door about
Great.
5 days after. Have not received a response, but we'll keep you guys in the loop if I do.
Just to be clear, there's no like procedure or anything for them to respond, we're just informing them and they may or may not respond to you. Okay, just making sure.
So nothing else there unless you guys have any questions for me. With regards to the utility easement with PEC, we are awaiting a bit of finality there, but supposedly everything is taken care of. I heard from the electrical engineer working on behalf of PEC today. He is chasing things down. So don't have anything final there, but doing our best to get that taken care of as soon as possible, and not feeling much time to do so. The last thing there under my report is covered applications and prohibited technology policy. Director Shoemaker might have more insight on this than I do, but to refresh everyone's
TikTok,
memory.
man?
TikTok, baby, here we are. So, refresh everyone's memory, during last legislative session, there was an executive order that went out that banned TikTok on state-owned devices, and then in all their wisdom, the Texas legislature, the last legislative session, undertook legislation to prohibit TikTok essentially on all public devices. With the rulemaking authority, they delegated to the DIR, who worked with one other state agency to promulgate a covered applications and prohibited technology policy. We have been waiting for this for months and months. It has finally been released, and we have reviewed it. We have not attempted to spend much time reviewing it because I don't know that this has a lot of applicability to you guys. But this is the state required essentially policy to deal with TikTok and related ByteDance applications being on publicly owned devices. Happy to answer any questions you have, but this is essentially the state drafted policy that has been suggested for adoption. And actually, it's essentially required for adoption, but happy to answer any questions you might have.
Do I have a motion to approve the policy?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Second?
I have some questions.
Okay, Director Johnson.
So, are there district-owned computers? Because Crossroads own theirs computers, I'm assuming, right? Everyone at the table owns their computers, I think.
So you are one of the few districts I have where we may have them, so we
We do.
do wanna we do wanna run that down. We kinda joked internally when we were rolling this out that, Crossroads will have to get TikTok off their machines,
Right.
but, in working with some of the folks, that, there might be things, it's not just TikTok or a suite of things,
Sure,
so we wanna make sure. One of the places, I don't know that we're impacted here, is there any SCADA out here, Lisa?
Only at the, GST. And actually, I think you might have SCADA at the lift station because it does call out, so yes.
So we will we'll do our due diligence here just to make sure that we're in compliance with the policy, but sometimes there are, so the SCADA system is like an automated system that detects ongoings within the utility system, for lack of a better term. And so oftentimes, there is a computer associated with that.
Okay.
We used to own one of the laptops out of the pool, I don't know if that's still the case with,
No laptop.
no pool laptop, well, with hundreds of teenagers working there over the years, that would have been a place TikTok might have appeared, but.
It's all on the
Yeah.
phones.
And I don't disagree with the policy
Yeah.
anyway, I'm just thinking through, like,
Yeah.
how does this apply? How about this machine,
Yeah.
like,
George is like, hello.
is that Crossroads or?
Well,
It's Crossroads, district owned, okay, so that's.
well, and I think, and Sean, I think part of this, I know that agencies, including higher ed,
Yeah.
they block TikTok and these apps on the Wi-Fi. So
Mm-hmm.
even if you're a member of the public, using a public Wi-Fi, it's like you go into the Capitol,
Sure.
you can't use government Wi-Fi to access TikTok. So Sean, I presume for any Wi-Fi networks you operate that are accessible to staff or the public, due to the way these bills and policies are written, you have to also make sure that those apps and various things are blocked as well, right? Or is it only on the actual physical
As
device?
far, because remember, there was executive order for
Yeah.
certain state agencies, and this one is more applicable. I don't think it goes that far, David, but I will take a look just to make sure. I think this is mostly for the actual devices.
Okay, cause I know they've done some pretty wide ranging
Yeah.
stuff on this, it's places you would immediately
Yeah.
think of as being a problem.
And broad
And it could change in
applicability,
6
there
months.
are plenty of state employees that have state-owned cell phones, so,
Yeah.
so that was, yep. So that's the thing as well. So at any rate, we'll run our traps, and you guys are one of the few districts that I represent that might actually have a practical issue here. I represent many districts that literally have no assets. We are adopting that in those districts as well, but you might have actual applicability here.
Do they specifically call out TikTok or do they call out ByteDance, which is the actual?
I think it's
legal entity?
ByteDance,
Okay.
but I think the policy refers to a list,
Yeah.
and I believe the comptroller might be keeping that list.
Okay.
Well, there it is right there, ByteDance
Yeah.
Limited or an entity owned by.
Okay, cause it's a little wider than.
Yeah, cause I think it hits ByteDance, they hit,
Yeah,
there
it
is
does.
other vendors in
Yeah.
there. And then if I recall correctly, usually the administrative rule or the executive order,
Yeah.
they then list out the various apps with the ability to add more later.
But I just think the common person just knows TikTok, but it's
Well,
actually.
so what's common that people hit, yeah.
Right, but it's ByteDance,
Yeah.
and, which is the legal entity. Okay, great, so all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so again, if I don't hear an aye, you're an aye. I mean, if I don't hear an A, you're an aye. Okay, we are down to the last few items. Subcommittees assignments, we have a new director and we have 2 open positions, that because of, Cecilia, that she sat on PR and communications and what else did you sit on, services?
Services.
Okay, so, do I have a recommendation? If not, I do. Okay.
Do we not have the current list of subcommittees with who's on them cause I imagine, I'm looking at my phone, so I downloaded the packet to look at it earlier, now I'm thinking maybe I downloaded the supplemental. Was there a supplemental?
You can run through them.
I feel like I saw something, but I can't figure out where I put it, that's probably the best way to put it.
Usually it's in the back of the packet, but I guess not. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna suggest.
I do have a list. Really get it?
If you could get copies, that'd be helpful. Like, can we hold on for a second?
Sure.
Is that all right, Director Logan?
Yeah, I think what I'll do.
Director Stansfield too, since she's all new to this, right?
Yeah,
She doesn't
absolutely,
know
no,
what
that would be helpful.
what we all sit on.
And I think what I'll do is, I'll make a motion for my recommendation.
Okay.
If somebody wants to second it, and then we can have discussion, and then we can have an amendment to the motion, just to kind of get it going,
I
okay?
think it's a good plan.
And, hopefully this will be a smooth conversation, respectful, and we can get through this and call it a night. It's 7:38. So, I'll just go ahead and do this, if you guys wanna write this down. My suggestion is amenities would be myself and Director Stanfield. Services would be Director Shoemaker and Director Young. PR Communications would be Stanfield and Director Young. RC would be Shoemaker and Johnson, and Finance would be Logan and Johnson. That would give everybody 2 subcommittees.
Guys, I'm not gonna be sitting on any subcommittees, as Director Logan stated a few months ago.
All right.
Subcommittees are a privilege, and as long as, I'm getting weird accusations from the GM, it's not a good idea that I meet with her. And it's also been communicated that we don't wanna have subcommittee meetings during the regular mud board meetings. So I'm gonna let you guys divvy up the other ones.
Okay, then I actually have a second scenario. Oh gosh, I don't have it in front of me.
Thank you, Lisa.
Does So scratch my motion.
Oh, withdraw your vote, that's easier.
Yeah, motion.
Wait, hold on.
He didn't.
Oh, he didn't.
Okay.
Thank you. Director Johnson, do you have a motion? I know
Well,
you're better at this than me, but,
I guess,
Thank you, Lisa.
yes, absolutely.
so I guess there's two ways to approach it. We could do multiple, two of us would sit on three, assuming we divide it up. Or alternatively, we combine some. Right now, currently we have, restrictive covenants, finance and audit, amenity services, and PR. I mean, just off the cuff, if we were to combine them, amenities and services are most similar.
Yeah.
But those might be the two biggest responsibility subcommittees, so that's a big ask, of whoever sits on, would you agree? Those are the big ones?
100%, those are the big ones, absolutely.
But they kind of cross over, don't they?
They do, but you're
Yeah.
adding a lot, because then it's not only pools and parks and whatever else, it's also trash, and now it's security, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's a lot, so.
But if you're on 3 subcommittees, then that's a lot too.
Well, if I could, I'd
Yeah.
like to say, if you notice, I mean, in your services, you have solid waste. Right now, restricted covenants is dealing with, the tedious, violations and things of that effect. And I really do see a restricted covenants and services, kind of blending, just to kind of help, like I said, that portion out a little bit more. And we have, some engineering and items that we could also discuss, during that time frame as well, so.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest actually, Lisa and Dirk Logan, I think we do need to shuffle around, cause I think the split was a little bit awkward anyway. I think that, having the professional, services, like in engineering, TDS, right? Together, I think we should definitely try to keep the, security with the folks using the park, that's where all the security issues arise. I was gonna really suggest also scouts, I feel like should move into amenities too.
Absolutely.
Parks, pools, security, scouts.
We could, we could put Crossroads in a number of places, it could go in the service, it could go in financial too. A lot of the stuff with Crossroads bleeds back to the budget, both in terms of our expenditures, right? So I mean, we could make restricted covenants and professional services, David, and then
I like that.
move Crossroads into finance, and then move what's left of services into amenities.
Okay, so we have restricted covenants and services combined, basically minus scouts. We have scouts going up to amenities. What goes with finance and audit?
I was thinking
Crossroads.
water, mainly Crossroads specifically, right?
Okay,
So-
that kind of makes sense.
So restrictive covenants would be what it currently is,
Plus services.
Plus TDS, plus gray engineering.
TS and gray. Engineering, sorry, I'm just trying to,
So you'd have restricted covenants and services together, that's one. You have finance and audit plus Crossroads.
except scouts.
Right, scouts is going into amenities.
Yes.
Right.
Then you'd have the, community garden, disc golf, pools, security, and scouts as one, so 1, 2, 3. And then you'd have communications,
PR communications would be what it is now.
3, 4. So you'd have 4 subcommittees.
Feels like we're missing something. The bike track would stay in amenities, right?
Yeah, and then we do have ad hoc subcommittees that come up.
Sure.
I mean,
For-
Brent got the one.
So you and I are sitting on, Nebraska Furniture Mart. Director Young and I were sitting on the park plan one, but I think that would fall better on, amenities. And Nebraska Furniture Mart could fall under finance or, what was I thinking?
Sorry, real quick, water and environmental would be under restricted covenants?
No, I was thinking we could move that to finance, cause
Oh,
we
yeah.
in particular, if you need to split it,
Right,
like,
right, it's
cause
water.
like there's a
Sorry.
committee in this for stuff like, which, is more regulatory, but I think the part that deals with Crossroads invariably seems to revolve back to the cost of whatever they're doing.
I know that amenities is big, but I really do think that PR and communications with amenities just kind of goes together. Every single thing that we're doing in the district really hits on those portions, every item that,
Yeah.
is celebrated events, You just have a whole lot of things that are just PR communications and amenities.
Right. Although,
So then you'd only have 3 subcommittees.
we just combine
but then, and I'm not against combining at all, I think that's a great idea. The only thing is it'll be tricky to get 4 of us in
3.
6 spots.
Yeah, so maybe we split PR, cause sometimes it is kind of separate. Does that help?
I don't know, maybe,
Cause yeah, if 8 spots, if 4 people, yeah, then that is much easier.
but I don't disagree with you at all, Lisa,
Yeah.
it's perfectly logical.
Well, you could have the same people
We
on.
could, I mean, as long as
Amenities and
it's
PR.
gonna be
Yeah.
pretty much the same conversation, you
We're gonna
know,
have to rejigger our restricted covenant meetings a little bit.
and that would
Now
allow
that we're
us to
adding more
kind of
people.
just lead in from.
Well, I think we might wanna change up how we handle that. We still wanna have, I think, a regular meeting, but with David and the other vendors, it may be a as needed meeting.
Yeah, they
basis.
generally don't chime in too much, I'm gonna bring some, information to you all and any items that obviously you have questions on.
Okay.
Yeah, cause I mean, in my experience on the services, I feel like when we talked, it was almost invariably because of scouts,
Mm-hmm.
which always kind of touching more what Mindy's was doing, or when we were meeting, it was about, water violations.
Right, and genuinely, I mean, for the services portion of it, we have a limited budget this year. I only have a few projects that I know for sure that are gonna touch on the services side.
Sure.
So it's gonna be minimal conversation because there's minimal dollar there.
That works out in our favor this time.
Okay, so
If you want, Director Logan, why make a motion
do it.
to reorganize how the committees go before we make motions on who sits on what? So I
Okay.
will make a motion to dissolve the services subcommittee. And of the items in that, to move scouts to amenities, maintenance and engineering, it's real engineering, to restrictive covenants, solid waste to restrictive covenants, and then on the water environmental, I would move the portion that is crossroads to finance and anything relating to MS4TCQ to restrictive covenants as far as a function. I'd suggest renaming restrictive covenants and professional services.
Ooh, I like
A
that.
regular, there's it, and then, so that, and then we keep our ad hocs, we can reorganize the ad hocs, but that's our standing committees, so eliminate services, scouts to amenities, maintenance engineering to restrictive covenants, solid waste restrictive covenants, the crossroads part of water to finance, environmental part of water to restrictive covenants, rename restrictive covenants and professional services.
I like
Wait a
it.
second.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Amanda. probably
No,
wants
you're
that.
good.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Now we need assignments and alternates.
All right. Restricted covenants in services,
If everyone agrees, David and I are working on
Yep.
some stuff and we'd like to stay on there.
I like that, okay, I don't have to be alternate on that, but I'm happy to, if I need to, so I think we do alternates last if we need to.
Yeah.
Okay, finance and audit crossroads,
Happy to stay, I'm happy to move.
should I stay or should I go now?
Right?
I think, I'm happy to stay or move, I think Amanda, you'd be amazing on this. It's a really good one to learn a lot.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna pressure you, but, you and Johnson might be good on this?
I don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we can change it if it doesn't.
absolutely, if you guys think about this more, yeah. Okay, so we've got you two here,
You got 2 committees, David.
okay, Dave, you're done.
Oh, yeah.
Amenities, I would like to stay on that, and Amanda, I think
I
you
would
would
like to
be,
be on that.
okay, so we got you and I.
Okay, and then that means,
You and Ursula.
Director Logan on
Director Logan.
PR comms, okay.
On what?
PR comms, you and I'll do that one together.
Okay,
Process.
and that's
Um,
everything, right?
It is. So the alternates,
Who would like to be an alternate on finance? Shoemaker, would you like to?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Cause you haven't done that before.
Yep.
Okay, shoot, who would like to be a,
I would take amenities over PR communications.
okay, you got that? And then, I'm sorry, restricted covenants was who? Alternate?
It's either you or Amanda.
Amanda?
Which one do you want?
My choice is you're already on finance, I'll do finance and you can do restricted covenants, which already on.
Director Shoemaker is the alternate on
finance.
Yeah,
You're
the way-
PRCom, so you have to be RC.
Okay, that's fine.
correct.
Okay.
Alright.
You're right, Sean. It works itself out.
Awesome, okay, that's great.
Building up the
Outside
SDA.
game.
So all in favor of that scenario? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, I just wanna remind you guys, it's really important to respond to the GM's emails. If we're asking if you can attend the meeting, if, you know, like, you guys are invited to the TDS thing. We've heard from everyone except Director Young. Are you planning on attending that?
Yeah, I'm not sure why you're singling me out right now.
Cause you're the only one that hasn't attended, or
I
hasn't.
will not be meeting in person with you or Lisa
Okay,
indefinitely.
okay. Do you wanna remain on the board?
That's up to me to decide,
Yeah,
and,
that's what I was asking.
and that's not on the agenda today.
Okay.
So if you wanna discuss
Okay.
it, put it on the agenda another
Okay.
month.
Okay. Anything else? You have something you wanted to?
Yes, just so one thing, I'm sorry, on the subcommittees, I forgot to mention, so, one thing that I think we all agree on, since you're new, like the board doesn't, I think Director Young hinted at earlier, but, doesn't give directives, so the boards are kind of a middle ground where
Yeah.
the way I consider it, we kind of interpret things that the board has said, you know, and then bring stuff back, like David and I have to bring stuff back all the time for restricted covenants, I think the other groups do it probably a little less than we do, maybe finance, but,
I think, doesn't Open Meetings Act cover that some too? Or does it not?
probably so.
Also, you know what, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but reading chapter 49, 59,
49.
that's our legal code, basically. I think that's worth reading. Just to kind of understand what we can and can't do and our limitations, don't you think? Okay, alright, I'm sorry.
chance you get bored.
Director Johnson, I'm sorry, I interrupted you,
Nope,
anything else?
that was it, just
Okay.
wanted to put that on.
And one thing I'll mention, if I could make it on the committee before I get too far down the road. Director Johnson, one thing we try to do with our vendors, and I was trying to propose every subcommittee is gonna be different with who's on it. But we have been trying to do covenants to work to shorten the meetings by encouraging the vendors, participants to send kind of lists of stuff to be addressed, because sometimes we can see stuff and even by email, and somebody say, okay, based on prior, we can move forward on this can wait.
Right.
To try to shorten the agendas up versus have it come. I think it's been reasonably efficient on restricted covenant, so.
It has, you know, a lot of times, and simply because of the nature of restricted covenants, we'd spend a meeting with them reading us lists of things, and only one or two of them required input. And so we asked them to please send it ahead of time, and then we can meet if we need to, we'll always meet if we need to. But David and I can read, so, you know, if we don't need to, we don't need to. So, and we tried it for the first time this, Friday, past Friday, and it actually worked quite well because the conversation was very focused on exactly what they needed director input on. And, we were able to generate questions.
Well, it was good, because I wasn't even able to be there, I had an appointment that I couldn't move, right, I
Perfect.
had a doctor's appointment. And
Yeah.
so Director John was able to call me, I was able to see him and chime on some of the emails from Will, right, like, so I think that it's been helpful to do that. So anyway, just throw it out there as people move on and organize.
No, that's really good, and even with finance, Tyler kind of does that,
Mhm.
and we can look at stuff ahead of time, and even there's been times like, we really don't need to meet with Tyler.
Yep.
You know, I mean, if we have specific questions or things we're working on, so you guys will figure that out too.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.